the show, she was like, I wish you was my mom. I wish I lived here.
I don't know about all that, but...
What, living there?
Both.
Oh, what?
I'll talk about
Mia. Oh, I Mia. No, that. No, I ain't rolling with that. She made some mistakes, but no, Mia was great. That would have been a great home.
She stole a child.
Stole is a very...
this nigga. You alright, no, I'm tripping.
I'm interested to hear what you got to say on that. Are we done on that?
I'm interested to hear what I got to say, too. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Cinecism. I'm Eric.
It's your boy Dante, man, and today we're going to be doing a review on Little Fires Everywhere.
Little Fires Everywhere is a Hulu original series. Is it a series or mini-series?
It is a mini-series right now, but it may become a series in the future. They are talking about maybe doing a season 2.
So it stars primarily Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon, amongst a plethora of other people. The plot focuses on Kerry Washington, who plays Mia, and she's the mother of Pearl. They're the focal point of the show. Kind of mysterious as to what their background is when the show starts off. We get a lot of questions answered as the series progresses. Her and her daughter have been moving around basically as long as her daughter's been alive. First, it appears that they're homeless because it's like all of their stuff is in a packed up in the car. But they moved to this small.
And they were sleeping in there.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I guess they were homeless.
Yeah. I mean, they're not the richest people, but they have resources because of Mia's profession. She's an artist, so she travels from place to place across the country. So they kind of live out of their suitcases to an extent.
Which brings them to this small community called Shaker. This one we first meet Reese Witherspoon's character, who plays Elena, and her family. I think they meet because she call the police because she sees her car just parked somewhere.
She sees a car parked and she assumes what we assume, that it was homeless people sleeping in the car, which is wild to call the police on.
Right.
You assume to be homeless people.
Right.
And then later they're trying to rent a house. Reese Witherspoon's character recognizes Kerry Washington's car, remembers that, she called the police on these people, so she feels bad and rents the place to them at like a ridiculously low price. Once they move into the house, that's when the show kind of begins, so to speak. Now their lives are becoming intertwined in a lot of different ways. Pearl, who is Mia's daughter, ends up befriending one of Elena's children, Moody. Mia starts to work in their house, not really a housekeeper. She comes for a couple hours. She cooks. She does light cleaning.
What starts off between Elena and Mia, what appears to be a blossoming friendship.
It always was tension.
It was always tension, but you thought it was hope at first, but it slowly starts to unravel and eventually become enemies. It's a lot of different elements that played into that, whether it's like involvement with their kids or other relationships that get tested. They become enemies by the end of the series. We have Kerry Washington, who plays Mia. She's a traveling artist. At first, we don't really know a whole lot about her character other than she's a little standoffish and mysterious. She clearly has some kind of past that made her this way. And then you have Pearl, who's her daughter. She's a pretty cool...
I like Pearl. Pearl and Mia were both really great characters. And more than that, their relationship, that mother and daughter dynamic that they had was phenomenal. You got to understand, it's always been the two of them.
Yeah, that's all they all that each other have.
Their bond is extremely strong. You can tell that they have that type of open relationship where Pearl feels comfortable telling her mom virtually anything. She's the type of mom that you can talk to because clearly she's had some real life experiences. She's not the type of parent that's going to judge you. Her well-being is her top priority, but at the end of the day, she understands that she's growing up. Them moving to Shaker, this is the first opportunity that Pearl has to actually be a child, like to actually be somewhere where she can start to develop relationships and friendships because they move around so much and it's tough, of course, at that age, making friends and things like that in general. But when you're a person that doesn't stick in the area for a long time, it can be that much more harder. At first, Mia's kind of reluctant to want to move here. I don't think she's feeling the community much, which I could understand if a cop get called on you within 5 minutes of you being there. She decides for her daughter that she wants to start giving her some stability.
She's your typical teenage girl. The only issue is because of her age and because of her limited experiences, she's very naive when it comes to just life.
She's a teenager, man. Kids don't have the worldview that adults have. They don't know what it takes, the sacrifices that parents make in order for them to just be under a roof, have food on the table, be free to go out and do this and that. Now, granted, Pearl and her mother aren't in the best financial situation, but they aren't in the worst financial situation. And like any teenager, Pearl wants stuff. She wants more.
She's tired of moving around. She's tired of not having any permanent friends in her life. This is the time where you're wanting to build relationships with people up in the same age range as you, not just your mother, obviously. So I understand completely where she's coming from and her frustration.
Parents do things to keep their kids in the dark for various reasons. Sometimes in doing so, they kind of neglect what they might want. It's understandable from a parent because, you know, when you're the one making a lot of the executive decisions and pulling the weight, especially the financial weight of the family, you feel like your kids in certain instances don't have a say-so.
Yeah, they just like shut up and color.
Exactly.
That's
and
the
I
mentality
get that.
of a lot of parents.
I got both sides of it, man.
Now that I've become an adult myself, I realize that kids are a lot smarter and wise than we as adults give them credit for.
Way smarter.
Like, I've had some very intelligent conversations with nieces and nephews before.
Same.
You know what I mean?
I'm not one of them people that just dismiss children because they're children.
Yeah,
you know, I remember being a child.
Most times.
Yeah, right. It depends on the circumstances.
Because sometimes you be talking crazy.
Yeah, of course.
But no,
it depends on, but you know. Oh, yeah, sometimes. Fuck what they be talking about.
So then we have Elena and her family. You want to start with Elena?
Let's start with Elena.
She comes from a pretty wealthy family, and she's the one that gave Mia the house to live in and offered her even a job as the maid in their house, which Mia did not take too kindly to for obvious reasons.
I understood.
She's got 4 children. She's been married for what, like 15, 20 years, somewhere around
there.
They've
been together for a long time,
She's just like such a Karen in this in this show. She's one of those people who are so oblivious to like the racist shit that comes out of their mouth.
She just has a wealthy, rich white woman point of view.
The thing I like about her character is like most of the times the shit she was saying wasn't intentional, which in my life experience I've seen this happen firsthand. Somebody will say something that's super insensitive but might have the best intentions, but the way that the shit comes across is just so offensive.
She had a limited scope of society. Mia made a point on the show. She was talking to somebody and that person said, yeah, you made bad choices. She was like, you didn't make good choices. You had good choices. You can't judge somebody unless you walked in their shoes. We often judge somebody because of what they've done but don't know exactly what their options were.
She starts off as one of those characters that's like, okay, well, I don't hate her. Her intentions seem good, but like sometimes she just says the wrong shit.
Yeah.
She goes from that, but slowly transition into a very hateable character. Her motives become clear and what she's trying to do to somebody who was already less fortunate than her. It was it was an unfortunate sequence of events. Bill was Elena's husband. I liked him in this show. He seemed like he's just staying afloat in this relationship, man. He's just trying to survive for the children and just for his own dignity. This dude is like suffering.
He's not in a happy marriage, and it don't seem like he's a happy father.
He's kind of in the background. In comparison to Elena, who's way more involved with the children.
He becomes a key character in the show because he's a lawyer in a trial that's happening throughout the show in which a friend of Mia's is trying to get her daughter back. It's a lot of complications with that.
So let's get into Elena and Bill's children, the oldest of which is Trip. Trip is like, I want to say cliche, but he's not though, because he's more than what he initially appears to be. He seems like a meathead at first, I ain't gonna lie.
Out of the children, he's the one with the least character development, the least story. He doesn't really have much. We don't really fully get to know Trip. You get to know enough about him that you know that your initial judgment of him was wrong. They kind of painted him as this all-American, popular kid.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be an asshole.
Me too.
But he actually was just a regular dude. He was neutral.
Guy.
He was like probably the most neutral character in the show.
100%.
He also eventually forms a relationship with Pearl. Yeah. Unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately because Moody, we see what kind of relationship or what kind of bond he was trying to form with Pearl.
Yeah. Moody likes Pearl. Pearl likes Trip. Trip starts dating Pearl. It becomes a mess.
That was just shitty.
Oh my God, man. We're talking about that.
And then you got Lexi. She's basically a teenage version of her mom. Super privileged, oblivious young white girl in America.
She has a black boyfriend too, which I found very interesting. Just culturally, she was super white and he was like super black. Yeah, like he was all about black empowerment, black this, black
which
issues.
Was surprising.
It just was an odd pairing. Yeah, but I could see in high school, especially, how some shit like that could happen because at that point in your life, looks is probably priority one. You're not really dating people because of personality. I mean, you are, but you're not. High school is all about appearances. Of course, him being popular. I think she was a cheerleader or something. You know how that goes. It's a lot of social factors that play in high school and high school relationships and who ends up dating. You know, it typically be people in the same type of, I guess, social tier. So I think they were having a conversation in her room, and she was like, you don't know what it's like for me. All of this pressure. And what I will say to that is this. It is a lot of pressure on teenagers, and I do believe that it's just that parents put a lot of pressure on their kids, especially parents like Elena.
Yeah, when you come from a successful background,
Yeah.
for sure, it's definitely some pressure there, man.
What she
I
was
would never
saying
deny that.
had validity to it.
Yeah.
But just the fact that she was saying it to this young black kid, which he brought up, like, man, you think it's hard for you? Like,
Yeah,
like what you think is like for me out here?
She wanted to be seen as a victim.
It's like she wanted a struggle.
It's like she wanted the attention.
Yeah.
Then she used Pearl's situation to even get into a school.
But her and Pearl start forming somewhat of a relationship, which Mia was skeptical of from the jump. She used Pearl's story in her college essay to get into Yale, a story about her struggle and racism, classism that she had experienced, and she kind of took it on as her own story. Her boyfriend and her have a spat throughout the entire series because of that.
I like the fact that he defended Pearl. I appreciated the fact that the only other black person on the show wasn't just some kind of like token ass, sellout ass black dude.
Yeah, I appreciated it. He kind of spoke and said a lot of things in the show that I thought needed to be said. Lexi getting pregnant. This was when her and Pearl were trying to become friends. Pearl's the only person she told. She showed up to the abortion clinic with her to take her home. Pearl finds out that she put her name on the abortion application.
I knew that was going to play a part into the story.
And then her reasoning behind it was the shit that was more fucked up. She was like, yeah, I was scared. But you don't understand. If it was my name on there, it would matter. As if my mom wouldn't give a fuck that I'm pregnant out here in these streets
just
getting
another
an abortion.
Statistic.
Right! People would expect this from you. From me, I can't be held to that standard, was what she was alluding at. Felt like Lexi, in the absolute end of the show, I appreciated what she did. And then another thing, man, she's just a kid. They haven't fully become who they're going to be yet. Even if at this point in their life, they're not the best people, there's still a lot of room for growth. And by the end of this show, I felt like she took a step to move in the right direction. So I got hope for Lexi.
Yeah, I was way more forgiving of the kids in this show than I was of the adults.
Oh, fuck yeah.
The shit they was doing.
Oh, man.
It was intentional and thought out. Then we have Moody, who's the third oldest. He was a lot more relatable. For me, he's definitely the more sensitive and culturally aware person. Him and Izzy. It's always weird to me seeing characters like that come from that type of background. They have much more wisdom than what their environment exposed them to.
Right. I love Moody, man. I thought he was dope. From the moment you get to meet him, you know, he was the first person to go over to Mia and Pearl's house when they moved in. He introduced himself. He helped them move in. Him and Pearl instantly formed a friendship, which I thought was dope. But Moody was a nice, caring guy. He seemed to really genuinely care about Pearl and her interests. So, of course, she wanted nothing to do with him.
Yeah, he was too nice to her. You know, it's funny, too, man, how they, like, subtly hinted at Pearl, like, in Trip. Like, the first little glances she gave. You saw that?
At first, I didn't get it at all. Because I was like, man, they got nothing in common. But at that age, I get it.
Oh, yeah,
when
you want
see
the
somebody,
most popular dude.
Of course, you see the dude that you feel like is that dude.
The jock.
Right.
Handsome guy.
Right, exactly. But the thing is that I didn't like about that is that it's cool to not like him back, but she started to withdraw as his friend, which I thought was a little shitty.
The way that she did it wasn't too cool.
Yeah, it's like she just started ignoring him.
And they started hanging out at his spot.
And
that was foul.
That's when I was like, yo, ain't that the van that he showed us? His secret place.
It was like a junkyard, and he had like one specific little van
that he set up.
Kick it in.
And they was in there getting it in.
But, you know, teenagers, man.
Right.
So then, and lastly, Elaine and Bill's children, we have Izzy, who's the youngest. She's also culturally aware, too. The way she goes about expressing it is way more extreme and in your face than Moody is.
Her and her mom's relationship is horrible. Like, it's completely toxic.
She just don't fit into the mold that she wants Izzy to fit in, like the rest of her kids.
She's the black sheep of the family. She doesn't really have anybody she can talk to. At some point in the show, she was confiding in her father.
Bill kind of gave up on everything by the end of the show.
He told her, he was like, Izzy, just keep your head down and try to survive.
Right.
She was like, is that what you're doing? He was like, you are a child. I was like, oh, shit. You don't know about what the fuck I'm out here doing. Her and Mia form a bond on this show. Aside from Mia and Pearl, this was probably my favorite relationship that the show introduces to. It was just more so than Pearl in a lot of ways, just because Pearl always had Mia and she's always had that supportive factor in her life. Clearly, Izzy does not have anybody in her corner in that way.
I mean, except for Moody.
It's nice to see that she has somebody older, especially when she seemed to be looking for a mother figure because she wasn't getting it with Elena. And Izzy's also a lesbian. That's also another thing that plays into Elena's overall just
because she probably, she speculates a little bit that Izzy is attracted to the girl, but it's never really outright said until like later.
Last but certainly not least, we have really the two driving forces of the plot of this show. what starts to polarize a lot of the characters is BB Child, who is a co-worker of Mia's, is found out that a friend of Elena's has essentially adopted her daughter. In one of her worst moments, decided to leave her daughter at a fire station.
Yeah, she thought it would be better for the child's survival because she was like dead poor.
Saying
They
down
didn't
bad.
have no electricity. You could see the heat emitting from their bodies.
Yeah.
That's how freezing cold it was. Pretty much last resort in trying to save the child's life. And she was hoping that she could eventually get her back somehow or another. It made me feel very conflicted watching that whole thing. You want the biological mother to have her daughter back now that she's in a better financial situation and she can care for her the way a child needs to be cared for. But then it's like you look at the foster parents and it's like they actually legitimately love this kid. They could not have children. A child finally came into their life that they can love as their own. Now it's like they're trying to take her away from him.
During the trial, they kind of bring up a lot of good points about what's it mean to be a good mother or a better parent, with the child being better care just because they have a better financial situation, because that doesn't necessarily make you a good parent. So key moments, we find out that Mia
had an agreement with this wealthy family early, like way back in the 80s.
When she was in college.
To be the surrogate mother for a wealthy family because they couldn't have kids. She agrees to it. She takes the money, deciding to keep the baby, who turns out to be Pearl. This is when she starts her cross-country journey. And this is why we learned that she's been on the run all these years, moving to these different locations because she doesn't want to be found.
Is that a crime, though?
I mean
it's not
if you take the money, it's a crime, ain't it?
What crime would that be, though?
You paying for a service that was not performed.
Theft, I guess.
I can't call it theft because it's your fucking child. Yeah. It's like, so if you was a kid, if you was Pearl, you would be okay that your whole life was a lie. And you wouldn't look at your mother no certain type of way from there on. Don't get me wrong. I understand, man. I feel her. And I'm not a woman, so I could never say, oh, you should have did whatever. But it's just how I feel about it personally from a relationship standpoint. It's like, that shit would change everything to me, man. Yeah, you're my biological parent. But after I learned a situation like that and how it was supposed to unfold, I just don't know, man.
The factors, once you saw what happened, right? She was a young, pregnant girl. Her brother had just died. She was trying to go to the funeral. The parents refused that she would go there. I could completely understand how in that moment, a young person with not many options who felt like she didn't belong anywhere or had a family to go to, her only real family that she had was her brother, how she could start to feel alone and realize that she had this kid and maybe that was all she had. You know what I'm saying? Another thing is that her brother, before he died, told her that he wanted her to have that baby. She ended up adopting his name as their last name. It seemed like a tribute to her brother in a lot of ways.
Now, do you think Mia would have ever told her if Elena didn't tell her?
I think eventually she would have. It was selfish that she kept that secret from her. It was completely about Mia. She felt like if she told her daughter, which she was right. She felt like if she told her daughter that it would be hard information to take.
So Elena and Mia, you can tell there's some tension there initially because she has her guard up because life experiences have made it that way.
So they have a falling out. The biggest falling out was when Elena finds out that Mia and BB Child are friends. Mia kind of facilitated and gave her the information that her friend is the one that is adopting BB Child's daughter. Once Elena finds out that Mia was involved in that, man, from that moment on, it's like it becomes her mission to try to ruin Mia's life, essentially. She travels all the way to New York to find out what school she went to. She goes to her parents' house to find out about the whole thing with Pearl. She kind of blames Mia for her relationship with her kids, her husband.
With her husband.
Yeah, she feels like Mia's the cause of all of the things that's going south in her life. Lexi gets pregnant, uses Pearl's name on her application at the abortion clinic. Elena finds out, and she assumes
and
that
then
Pearl.
So she's trying to gloat more by coming to Mia's house and telling her, she should be keeping a better eye on her children.
I love that scene.
And Pearl had gotten pregnant, which was obviously not true.
She was like, maybe if Pearl had the mother that she deserved, that she wouldn't be out here pregnant, ruining my children's life. Mia was like, Is that right? You done? Are you finished? Because hold up, I got something for that. Are you done? But let me make sure that you're done talking, though. And she was like, maybe if Lexi had the mother that she deserved, she wouldn't be pregnant at my fucking house in a fucking day. I was like, oh! 3 more!
Maybe one.
She was like, I want you out by the morning.
So at the beginning of the series, we see the fire department responding to a fire at what we learn is Elena and Bill's house. I think people in the neighborhood even assumed that it was Izzy that burned the house down. In the final episode, we learned that it was actually the kids that burned the house down. And Izzy wasn't even involved, surprisingly.
She wasn't there at all. Izzy starts to try to burn down the house. Lexi comes in there, stops her, then all of the kids come into the room. Then Elena eventually comes into the room, like, distraught. She tells Izzy in a moment of rage, like, I never wanted you. Lexi's reaction, she was like, Mom!
Moody looked so disgusted.
Moody and Trip were like,
was just like,
yo! Like, Mom, we knew you was wildin', but we didn't know you was out here on the safari.
I never forget Moody's face.
Yeah. Izzy ends up storming out of the house.
She packed up some things and just hit the road.
Yeah. Lexi, I think, leads the charge and was like, look, y'all want to be like her? Because we need to start over, okay? We need to burn some shit.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, right. Right. Overall, I really enjoyed this show, man. I thought it had great characters. I'm really interested to see where they go from here. I love Kerry Washington, man. I'm really happy to see her in something like this because as much as I enjoy her, she's not in a lot of things that I enjoy, if that makes sense. Overall, man, from a scale of 1 to 10, I will be giving Little Fires Everywhere a 9 out of 10.
You enjoyed this, huh?
I did, man.
All right.
Sound like Yoda. 9 you give it.
Enjoyed this.
Right. Fear leads to hate. Hate leads to Carrie's mouth.
I really enjoyed this too. The characters were great. Character development was excellent as well.
Yes.
I also like the overall theme too. So overall, I'm going to give Little Fires Everywhere a 8.5 out of 10. I only enjoyed it slightly less than Ozark Season 3, so I feel like that's fair. All right, y'all. That was our review of the Hulu original series, or mini-series, Little Fires Everywhere. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and as always, drop a comment below if you'd like to see something reviewed by us, whether it be a movie, a show like this, or a trailer.
If y'all have seen Little Fires Everywhere, I'm very interested to hear what other people think. Things you like, dislike, we'd be interested in hearing all of that. So drop a comment below and let us know. We appreciate y'all, man. Peace.
Peace.
You didn't make good choices. You had good choices.
Haha. What's up, Carrie? You know we love you, girl. I just got one question for you. Why you be making them faces?
It seems like your mouth, it never closes properly. And I don't know what's happening. What is happening? Is it just me, or in all your roles, your mouth be moving sloppily, and it is becoming distracting. It's so distracting. 'Cause girl, you got a mouth on you, and I don't know what I'ma do. 'Cause girl, you got a mouth on you, and I don't know what I'ma do.
I can't tell if you disgusted or you smelling something musty, but your face is crazy, trust me, I see all your teeth. And I'm trying to be polite, but it's such a glaring sight that it's hard for me to fight, so please pardon me. Is there something in the air? What is that face?
We might never know.
Maybe she's born with it.
We might never